Hey, so just wanted to let you know in advance, this video is basically completely unedited. I just really want to get my raw thoughts out on what I think about One Piece Film Red. I'm really excited and just wanted to get it out as soon as I possibly can because there's just so much One Piece this weekend. We got a chapter yesterday, we got a movie announcement, and then we have episode 1000 later today. Such a great time to be a One Piece fan. So these are all my thoughts on the movie. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I would love to know your thoughts on the movie as well. I asked this at the end of the video, but I might as well ask it now. What do you think the plot of this movie is going to be? Because I'm genuinely really curious, and I would like to know your predictions as well. So, with that out of the way, hope you enjoyed the video. Yo, what's up everyone? I just wanted to do a quick little video talking about my anticipation and excitement for the newly announced One Piece film, Red, which is a One Piece movie presumptuously all about Shanks. And I'm genuinely really excited. I'm still relatively new to One Piece as a whole. I only got into it in the quarantine, and there hasn't really been that moment that really united a bunch of One Piece people to come together. Like, well, obviously there was episode 957, which was huge, and it was so good. Like, so good. But, you know, ever since I've been in the fandom, I haven't been able to really experience like going to a One Piece movie, and I really want to go to this one because, one, it would just be fun. I would get to meet a bunch of people who are also fans of the series, and we'd all get to see it and like have those reveals to us live, and it would be pretty awesome. And two, this is actually a canon film, unlike most other One Piece films from what I can gather. So there's actually a lot to be excited about. And three, obviously, this is seemingly just a story about Shanks, which obviously so many people are going to be like, oh my god, Shanks, instant, gotta watch, you know what I mean? But I just think this has a lot of potential to flesh out Shanks's character and maybe have moments that won't be seen in the manga, and then they might be integrated later. That'd be pretty neat. Something, I guess, along the lines to Shiki's role in the story, where Shiki is canon, but like he hasn't really been in the story as of late. We know he was a part of the Ed War and just essentially was there to boost Roger's status, but really he was just a big foe that Roger fought, but he doesn't really have that much of a presence in the modern story. When looking at Shanks, obviously, Shanks' presence in the modern story is huge. He's one of the Yonko, he's Luffy's inspiration, and there's just so much building up to Shanks as a character. Now, what I really want to get at with this video is my ideas for what the movie is going to be about, and just my excitement overall. So, I'm just really excited to do this because, one, I plan on seeing it opening night because that would just be super sick, and I don't want to get spoiled, obviously. And two, I think the potential for this movie, especially again that it's canon, is really high. Now I'm just gonna start spitballing some ideas I had about what the plot of One Piece Film Red could be about. And what I'm gonna do is start with this little sketch that Oda drew of this, presuming a woman, who actually has wings, sort of like Enel's, so, or Rouge's, but hers are small, you know what I mean? And this reminds me a lot of Skypiea, obviously. This has to be someone from a Sky Island, and I'm just really wondering like how this person's importance to Shanks will be present in the film. And this led me to thinking about a bunch of ideas. We haven't really seen a Skypiea denizen in Shanks' crew, so this might just be someone important to a specific story in a specific area, and this could definitely explain why this film is canon, because obviously Skypiea is already isolated enough from the main world. A lot of people skip Skypiea just because of that, which is garbage, but whatever. A lot of people just essentially think Skypiea doesn't really have any main plot relevance, which is not true, again. So perhaps this could be Oda's way of having a Skypiea-esque tale for Shanks and giving him a bunch of moments to shine through this sort of isolated setting. And what has me thinking this sort of way is all the potential that could be had for the plot of this film. So I want to get into some of my ideas for that as well. Now, I think that having the plot of this film be in specific blank gaps that we have no idea about for Shanks, which is a lot to be honest, but having it in those gaps would be really, really cool. The one that I am thinking about the most prominently is when Shanks gives the hat to Luffy, and then that gap to Shanks becoming a Yonko. Because as shocking as this may seem, Shanks only became a Yonko 6 years ago when it comes to the main story, which I remember hearing that back in Enies Lobby. I was like, what? Well, not Enies Lobby, post Enies Lobby from Garp. But I was genuinely like, 6 years ago? It's so fascinating. Actually, maybe it wasn't post Enies Lobby from Garp, but maybe it was his actual bounty poster reveal, which actually gives this idea more clearance, because if it's such a recent thought in Oda's head, like, oh, Shanks was only a Yonko really recently, and then we're thinking, what was he doing all that time before with Luffy up to that point 6 years ago? I think that really allows for a perfect time slot to place this story in. I don't know if this is going to be the tale of Shanks becoming a Yonko, which would be fire, and that's exactly what I want, but very, very exciting. What I don't think at all, I don't think we're going to see how Shanks got his scar, because obviously the scar iconography is so iconic, and I feel as though we will see that moment play out in the story. We're going to see that little scuffle between Shanks and Blackbeard that caused it. I feel like that would be really, really cool. Hopefully the two meet. They most likely will, obviously, because Shanks said it's not time to fight at Marineford. So I definitely feel like we're going to see that moment play out when those two characters clash once again. Now, what I'm getting at is that Shanks having that little time period after meeting Luffy, becoming a Yonko, has a lot of potential. We get to see Shanks interact with these really high level characters. Whitebeard, which we already saw a little bit of, but seeing more of that, fire. Big Mom, Kaido. Seeing Shanks interact with Kaido in particular could also lead to some other things, like maybe Shanks heading to Marineford, if we're going to really encompass a lot of Shanks' feats in the story. So, for example, stopping Kaido from getting to Marineford. That would be sick to see, because I feel like that's another blank space that's just like, that's a really cool thing he did, and we want to see it. And that could also add to it being canon. Obviously, that was a huge thing that happened in Marineford. Shanks showed up for the Marineford, saved the war, stopped everyone from dying. Really, really sick. And having that moment be animated and more fleshed out would be pretty awesome. I don't know if we're going to get that moment in Kaido's flashback, because it's not really essentially a flashback moment since it's relatively recent, but you know what I mean. And seeing Shanks interact with Big Mom would also be really cool, because Big Mom has a sort of vendetta against Roger for stealing the poneglyph and dipping out. So maybe she still has that vendetta, because Big Mom is a very, very vengeful woman. So that'd be cool to see. And the thing that makes me the most interested is maybe we're going to see the Yonko that was there before Shanks, if the Yonko system was even a thing before Shanks. I guess it would be the Sanko, because it would be Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido. I don't know. It could be Shiki. Shiki could have been one of the Yonko. Who knows? But yeah, I just think that this whole idea of Shanks being able to communicate with some of these characters we know so much about and are so invested in, seeing his, more youthful, kind of hopeful nature would be pretty cool. And there's some other moments, obviously, that I would like to see fleshed out, like Shanks meeting with Ace, which we got a bit more of in the Ace novels that were made, which are also canon. So seeing that would be pretty cool. I'm trying to think of what else. Obviously, we could do, if we're talking about gaps, we could do Shanks after Roger's execution, leading up to him meeting Luffy. That's another huge span of time you could cover. That would lead to Shanks sort of becoming a pirate and developing the red hair pirates themselves. That could be pretty cool. Now, something I do hope for is that I do want there to be a story, obviously. It's not just going to be snippets of Shanks' life that lead up to something in a Sky Island, little skirmish, I assume, that really shows how powerful he is. But what I'm hoping for is that we get an actual narrative with the red hair pirates, because obviously seeing them is awesome, but I just don't want it to be essentially a clip show where it's like, oh, and that happened, and that happened, and that happened. That'd be kind of lame, I'm not gonna lie to you. So having there be a solid narrative for the actual story of this movie would be pretty awesome, because I know a lot of people had their complaints with Stampede. Now, I like Stampede. Stampede is fun. It's very, very dumb, but it's fun because I get to see all these characters I like do all these things, and it's cool. However, Bullet isn't the most convincing antagonist, and from this movie, unless it's like some crazy thing, like Big Mom is the main antagonist, or Kaido's the main antagonist of this movie, that'd be really awesome, but there's just no way that's happening in my opinion. I feel as though Shanks obviously is the highlight. He is literally has the movie named after him. So having him be heavily involved obviously is the selling point of this movie. So I don't really expect a good antagonist. If there is, absolutely sick. Really, really fire. But again, I'm worried this will be sort of Stampede-esque, where a lot of people are like, oh, these moments are fire. But the movie itself doesn't really have that gripping nature to it, narrative-wise. It's just a bunch of cool moments with Shanks, which, again, that would be cool, but I just really hope the narrative actually gets me intrigued. I think the main factor of interest for me, obviously, is, say, again, if this is the gap after meeting Luffy and then becoming a Yonko, I want to see how he became a Yonko, like that specific moment, because I don't think we know that. I don't think we really will. It's not I don't think, we don't know. And that's the thing that makes it so fascinating. Shanks is just a mystery to everyone, and seeing that he's getting a whole movie surrounding him is pretty just wild. Now, I've been talking to some people obviously online about their excitement for this movie, and I saw some people kind of give the idea like, is this about Shanks? Nah, but he's in it. And I don't know, having the movie be named after you, having the title card have your main iconography within it, yeah, it's probably about Shanks. But if he's just in it and does things in it, that would be hilarious. Now, I was joking with this one other One Piece YouTuber, Dawn of the World, at right there in the corner, and saying like, oh, you see the red, nah, that's not for red hair, that's for red nose, because Buggy is the main character. And then someone commented below mine saying, oh, the 3 cuts in the D aren't from Shanks' scars, they're from Buggy with the knives in his fingers. I thought that was really, really funny. And just the memes around it, I think have a lot of potential. Like, honestly, I really do hope we see Buggy in this movie quite a lot, because Buggy is really integral to Shanks' character, since Buggy is meant to be sort of the going the other path of Shanks. They're both apprentices of Roger, ton of potential, but then Buggy's kind of just this cowardly, very pessimistic person, and Shanks is very outgoing, optimistic, you know? And I think it's definitely telling in their designs. Buggy has blue hair, Shanks has red hair. The contrast is very strong, obviously. And obviously, since Buggy has been known to be related to Shanks ever since his introduction in like chapter like 5 or something, just having that moment where the two kind of diverge at Roger's execution would also be really cool to see. But I really just want to see him in this movie. I feel like his potential to interact with Shanks is always fun. I really love the relationship, and I remember even at Marineford I was like, oh, this is great, because Buggy is so outgoing and just try hard, and Shanks is just like, oh, Buggy, what's up? He's so carefree about it, and it's really, really funny to me. And I don't know, obviously Shanks is not a character we know like anything about, so the potential for this movie is really, really high. And those are just some of my ideas of the plot of this movie. It could be after Roger's execution, up to meeting Luffy up to him becoming a Yonko, or maybe some moments from both of those interspersed with some moments we know from Shanks, normally like meeting Ace and stopping Kaido. I just think, again, the potential is unlimited. You're literally making a movie about one of the most mysterious characters that people love, and it's canon. People are gonna flood to the theaters to see this. Now, this comes out in August 2022, so quite a while away, but I just hope that theaters are a safe place. Obviously, disease-free, the world gets a lot safer. That'd be absolutely awesome, because seeing this in theater is such a great opportunity. Because, again, being able to really finally have that moment where I'm with One Piece as a whole would be really great. I've heard amazing stories about people seeing Stampede with a group of people, and just the cheers and the applause. It just sounds so great to see. So I really want to see this movie in theaters, and I really want to see it with some people who I'm friends with who are also into One Piece, because seeing it with them and also with the crowd of people would be really awesome. So that's really it from me. I'm very, very optimistic about this movie, and I'm genuinely really excited to see it. So I'm curious what you all think below. But what I'm mostly curious in is, what do you all think the plot of this movie is most likely going to be? Obviously, we still have this whole thing with the woman who has some Sky Island descendants, or from the Sky Island, something related to the Sky Island. What do you think her relevance is going to be? Where do you think the story is going to take place in Shanks' timeline? Let me know below, because I'm genuinely really curious, and I like all the slight theory crafting about where the story is going to take from just these really little hints. So yeah, that's been it from me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like One Piece content, consider supporting the channel, and have a good one.